Hey yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone? Everywhere, welcome back to another video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video, on all the other good stuff. Without further ado, let's hop into it. Actually, by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about nature healing loadouts. Okay. Now, if you want to see the PvP healing stuff, or even DPS, that will be the next video here coming up here very shortly. So stay tuned in for that. But for this, I'll go over a few variations. Okay, we got our pure healing, we got our EOG or supercharge healing variation as well, and then even for our, battle heals. Nature's not the best battle heal, if I'm being honest. It's one of the better pure heals in the game. If you're trying to battle heal with nature, I would not recommend it. The dots for nature have been nerfed so many times over and reworked so many times over that they're not the most reliable to just, hey, I'm gonna hit these couple abilities for dots so they can heal the team up and then use my weapon and whatever else, or try to use these other powers. It's just not the best. It doesn't always work. You would think it would, but from my testing and even trying to take it up and even elite level content, regular content and elite level content, it just didn't do well. So with that being said, I will highly recommend just doing pure healing or doing the EOG one, okay, or supercharge healing, I would say. So keep in mind, all this is old gear from last DLC, so definitely keep that in mind. One, took a little bit of break. Two, everything I did for the old gear and why I have the old gear right now still is because of how I've already recorded all the other nature videos was with the previous DLC gear. So this is the same gear, so it's very consistent across the board. I want to make sure my damage numbers matched up, so I didn't even mess with my healing stuff either, because I wanted everything to match up across the board no matter what. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to use brawling as our weapon. You can definitely use some of my hand blast, the bow, dual pistols, rifle if you really want to, staff. I mean, there's a lot of weapons. Some people even use martial arts, so hey, just do you. Okay, so I know some people even like to use dual wield. Brawling is just going to be the best, quickest. Hand blasters or dual pistols are probably the second best, quickest, okay? If you don't want to do weapon mastery, that is. Headpiece, I would say put your supercharged one in. I have that one from my other loadout. But you want to go ahead and put that word of power in there. Now, there's other ones that we can use instead of word of power, but you'll see that word of power is just very nice. One, for us, and increases our healing, but also helps the whole team out with these buffs. So it's just phenomenal, okay, to go ahead and use for not only ourselves but our team. Okay, now something that you could use instead of that is definitely something like Rampage here. If you want a little bit of healing over time, break yourself out, do a little more damage. That is for my more DPS heal hybrid, battle heal, whatever you want to call it. Or you can even just use regeneration. It's a pretty good supercharge. It's one of the only remaining supercharges from healers, when healers supercharge used to be pretty much 5,000 across the board. When they just up the shield ones and up some of the other ones to 10,000, it's ridiculous because almost no healer uses them now. Regeneration is one of the few that can, but I'm gonna be honest, it kind of got very weak. I feel like it got nerfed to be at this 5,000 state. I would say it feels comparable to you using, like, if you've been electric before and you try to use megavolt for damage, it's very much like that. That's how regeneration feels to use for healing. Okay. And then carnivorous plants is only good for single targets, so keep that in mind. But yeah. Now, back over to everything else. Your neck will actually be, I don't know why I don't have that in there, but your neck is going to be focus restoration, okay? And then your back is gonna be your shield. Do I not have a back one? Huh. Goodness. Let's just go through them all. So your back is going to be your accelerated swarm shield. Now you could do accelerated metabolism. That can be good, but I would say your swarm shield is just a little bit better. Just to make sure you have the shield, you know, save your teammates more. If you hit your shield and you kind of, you know, need it back very quickly, you'll have it again a lot quicker. So that's that. And there's other heals to use besides metabolism. Metabolism is one of the better ones, keep in mind, but there's other heals to use. So yeah, swarm shield. And then legs. Honestly, if you're going to be using one of them, a restorative roar is probably your better off one. You can definitely use something like a restorative serpent call if you're using a different variation of the build that I will show you here shortly. Okay, so serpent call is probably what I will go with. Hands, you can do regenerative shielding or max damage if you're doing a battle heal. Okay, feet, tumbling master is always a good thing to go ahead and have. You could do something like deadly block if you know just want a little more damage out there, or explosive block if you want everything to go away from you, or just, you know, all around quality life tumbling master. So yeah. And then in terms of if you still have a face, just use restoration and power. You always need power. You always need restoration. If you really want to take it up a notch, though, I will say doing restoration and dominance is very, very good. You don't get a lot of dominance outside of a few things, and whenever you can get dominance, it's very good. Now, why do I say that? Because dominance here, when you look at it, healing and your shields both get a pretty good benefit from dominance. So it's good to have. So I would say restoration, dominance, or even dominance and power. Okay. Now, affinity mods, I like to always have type A and B for DPS and type C and D for my support role. Okay, my support role in this case is healing, and these are the good ones: the healing conservation mod or the field medic mod for type D. Those are phenomenal when you have those active. They are so good. Trinkets, I like to always just have tier 3 pet, orbital, supply drop, henchman, or psychic, depending if we have a tank or not. Okay, for my pure healing, we will do purple healing ray, page of destiny, and transformation card. Those are your golden 3 for pure healing. I will say you would throw out the page of destiny for the clarion here if you're doing battle healing to pair up with the transformation card. And then you could even take a step further. I know some people really like to use Demon Fang in tandem with that, which you can. You can also go ahead and use something like Venomous Dispenser. Okay, now depending on what you're doing, you should be healing a good amount. So Venomous Dispenser is definitely something good to have, or even something like the Strategist card. Strategist card, especially when you heal, it's going to apply heal over time, which is going to help save you a lot more. Now I will say, when I was doing a battle heal variation, Strategist card was my better off one for my third artifact to pair with. Some artifacts will look more like this: Strategist, Clarion, Transformation. Okay, very good that way. But if you're just doing the pure healing, which I recommend 9 times out of 10, go ahead and have Page of Destiny, Purple Healing Ray, and Transformation card. And if you don't want Transformation card still, for whatever reason, you could do Scrap the Soul Cloak. And if you are EOG, hey, Scrap the Soul Cloak, EOG, Purple Healing Ray like normal. Alright, now you see my stats. These are the old stats from previous DLC. Keep that in mind. This is what I'm working with. If you want your origins, your augments, I will say, always match them up, make sure they're all green, make sure they're all restoring, so they're all healing ones. You could very well put in the dominance ones. I do have a good amount of those, you know, pretty decently leveled as you see. You could definitely throw those in the mix here, just so you get a nice chunk from that, or even just throwing them here, you know what I mean, like 2, and then you should be good. So you still get 50% for the bonus of them. Now what you could do is leave these all restoring and just have these 2 up here be the dominance ones. That can also be something that you can definitely put in. I would normally, what I do personally is just have my DPS ones in here, just because I normally only level up about 2 to 3 of these, and the healing ones, I feel like I heal good enough without them. So that's just me. But if you want to do the best of the best, definitely put in your restoring ones for your restoration, or just the dominance ones. Okay. Now in terms of allies, I like my golden combo of Shazam for the damage, for AoE damage, and some healing, as well as Batman who lasts luck at the draw, and Cyborg all your base. I like that a lot. My power, regeneration, and how much I am doing with the power is absolutely phenomenal. If you are using Serpent Call for that Supercharge generator, you can definitely use something like Satana out of the hat. One, you get a 25% damage struck shield. You could get the 25% power cost reduction, which is absolutely phenomenal. Your crit chance increases, your speed increases to, you know, do the mechanics, move out the way. Your minor precision is not really what you're focused on, but a little extra damage never hurt nobody. So it's just good all around, honestly. Now, something else that you could definitely throw in the mix is something like this. The Black Adam power of a 10 Supercharge generator abilities generate 35% more Supercharge. It's very, very good, especially if you're EOG spamming. I would recommend that a lot. Okay. Now, something that you can also do if you are going to have the Blue Beetle with the aggression motivator. When using Supercharge generator, you drain 2000 Supercharge, mark a target 8 seconds, attacking this target at the group members will restore health and power, as well as Supercharge per hit. Now, mind you, you're only there for 8 seconds, so you know you could get roughly 8% Supercharge. This is phenomenal. I like to actually run this in my quote-unquote pure healing setup. What you can do is, instead of the, I would say, transformation card, or even you can take out the Page of Destiny, because transformation card is definitely very, very good for healing. Those crits save you so many times. Even for nature, because nature does a lot more healing over time based, like dot healing, instead of just burst like electricity or something like that is. The fact that it doesn't take as long to get your teammates up to full with transformation card is absolutely astounding. I like to have the safety and security of the Page of Destiny, but you can definitely switch either one of those out. Purple Ray is pretty much mandatory. The shield that absorbs some extra damage, or even the extra group here for the extra healing over time, is, I just like it a lot. Purple Healing Ray is just so good to me. Now, in thinking about it, if I had to choose between Page of Destiny and Purple Healing Ray, depending on the thing, if I really think the group is going to go down, I would say Purple Healing Ray all day. If I'm really just trying to save the tank and make sure he's good, if the group's going down, Page of Destiny all day. My apologies. If I think the tank is going to do pretty bad, or really need to make sure he's up, Purple Healing Ray all day, just so I can give him the extra shield and have 20% of that damage, negated, extra healing over time, etc. Give me more power, reset my cooldowns, all of that. Okay. Now, but you could, like I said before, throw in that Scrap Soul Cloak for the transformation card, and throw in that Blue Beetle, that aggression mode. That thing is insane what it does. Okay. Now, I believe, if I have not already, I already went over this. Brawling's a good weapon. Get the weapon mastery. You get that by coming over into martial arts here and go ahead and get that martial arts mastery, go back to brawling, and then you're able to spec that 1 point. Get the 1 point. You don't need this one at all. Just stay with that. Now if you're doing dual wield, you know, you could do the same, but for flurry shot mastery here, for the bow, you could just do the regular bow and just do the trick shots, or even flurry shot here. Either one's good. Bowmaster will allow these to do more damage across the board, so hey, you can do that. You can do rifle into the mortar, rifle into the fluid auto. I mean, there's a couple ways you can do that. What is it? Staff into mortar, you could do that. There's different things. Dual pistol, just straight up, just hold down triangle. That's it. Or hand blaster, you can keep it with just the constant keep holding. Be like Batman in the Legends PvP. It's very, very good. You can do the scissor kick, solar flare, so I highly recommend, or meteor blast. Okay, so there's different ways you can go about it. But nonetheless, I like brawling. It's very quick, very efficient, very good. Super speed, or your movement, get your go fast, get your breakouts and recoveries here. I would say these are more pertinent for support based characters than DPS based characters. So, you know, it is what it is on that. Especially if you have over 500 skill points, you definitely have these. Okay, quality of life is amazing. Iconic powers, word power, like I said before. These are a little gimmicky, like Amazon deflection, mesmerized lasso, highlight shield, clown box. Those are gimmicky, depending on very situational stuff to do. So yeah. Stat points, super power focus. We want the extra power and power generation because of it. Even though we can get more dominance and rust on bite this way, you don't have the power generation nor as coming back to you. And this makes you more use your weapon to restore the power back to you, which can be good, but sometimes you will have to just spam it out, essentially. You're not essentially spamming, but, you know, healing very efficiently, very fast. You don't have time to do weapon combos to get your stuff back. So it's just better if you have super power focus. And then in terms of importance, you don't do critical healing chance, critical healing magnitude, then dump everything in the rest of. Okay, if you have anything left over, recommend 1 into health, 1 into dominance. Okay, and once you have higher skill points, you can put 5 and 10 into these respectively. Then dump everything in mind power. Now, also keep in mind, once you get a very high skill points, like how I'm at, any of these bottom 2 rows here for stat points, once you get to 300, it starts changing. What do I mean by that? So if you have 300 here, right, and then you have 1 extra skill point, you put 301. That jump from 300 to 301 is going to be substantial. 301, 302, substantial. So on and so forth, all the way up to maxed, right? Everything past 300 skill points in any particular one stat node is very, very good. Now, you'll kind of see here with, you know, 1 stat in it, you get a lot. You get 400 health, right? But once after you get to like 10, then it kind of like diminishing returns, so to speak. So 11, 12, 13, so on and so forth, all the way up to 300 is very much diminishing returns. You do get some of the percentage based ones, which can be decent, but I would say it's diminishing returns all the way to 300. Once you get 300 plus, it is very much so not diminishing returns anymore. You get a substantial amount, comparable to having just 1 skill point in these ones all over again. Okay, now I even put 1 into Vite just so I can be good with my power. I notice all the time, if I do not have power, the whole group dies. So I try to make sure I'm good on power as best as possible. That's why I do super power focus, put 1 into Vite, 1 in Dom, 1 in health, spec into mind power just for the power aspect alone. Okay. Loadouts, you kind of already saw what we were working with. Savage Growth, Metabolism, Blossom, Flourish, Storm Shield, Bloom. Now, Savage Growth is actually kind of trash, if I'm being honest. It needs to be like how old Savage Growth was. New Savage Growth is just horrible. Cross Pollination is better, and it's more of You can heal like your pets and all that with cross pollinations. Keep that in mind. You can also heal with savage growth too. Keep that in mind. Savage growth is just insanely slow and not very potent. Cross pollination is just better in pretty much all ways. Now, I say that, but I still have savage growth up on here just because of how it works in tandem with something like metabolism and then flourish. Once you have flourish, it just, these two together seem to work better with flourish than just cross pollination and metabolism. That is for like smaller groups, I would say. If you're doing a raid or something like that, cross pollination is a bit better. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, now what I was talking about before was serpent call and putting that right there in the mix, because you don't have supercharge still, as you see, right? Because you don't have supercharge, you can go ahead and put in the blue beetle ally. Now some people say, hey, you should, you know, if you're gonna be doing EOG, do EOG. You're a healer, you can do that. But hey, we got the best of both worlds, do our pure healing, so to speak, quote unquote, and allow the group to get that supercharge back. Okay, we are just doing everything, jack of all trades, they call us. Okay, and it is phenomenal. Now, if you want to know like a good, you know, rotation still, I still recommend that you hit these first two abilities back to back. That's still going to be good. If you have savage growth in here, crossball, hit these back to back. Get all your pheromones out. Okay, it's going to release those pheromones, healing everybody over time. Metabolism does heal a lot faster than savage growth. Cross pollination is pretty much more burst at first, and then it just kind of skims off at the end, and it becomes slow like savage growth. I would say even slower than savage growth, which is one of the problems I have with it. Cross pollination seems like it needs a bit of a buff. At least increase the power cost to like 450 and just make it be like a stronger version of metabolism. That would be insane. That would be really good. Okay. Metabolism is good. Release pheromones. This is how you kind of refresh your pheromones. This is the harvest or thorn shield equivalent. So that's going to be very good. And then you see Blossom here. Blossom, although it says restores additional health when you use allies and pheromones, this used to consume your pheromones when you used it, and it still kind of feels like it. I don't know if it's a placebo or not, but I notice every time I use it, it still feels like it consumes a lot of my pheromones, and they just don't necessarily work. So with that being said, I would highly recommend that, of course, definitely use Blossom as needed, but don't always be quick to spam out your priority heal, okay? More use Metabolism and Flourish. They're going to pretty much take over majority 9 times out of 10 for you anyways. And then you have Swarm Shield in case stuff gets real sticky. Now, stuff is just really bad and you're not able to heal and keep up, hit Bloom. Bloom is your like, oh my goodness, oh crap button. You're going to be okay when you hit Bloom. If you know stuff's going to come, you're preparing for a large attack, go ahead and start Bloom, because Bloom, you know, takes a little bit to warm up and then it just keeps healing. It does pretty good heals at first as you're channeling it through, and then at the very end it also does a big burst heal. Okay, so it's just good to use all around. It's very, very good. Now if you're doing more supercharged focused stuff like EOG stuff, I before still like to use like Word of Power, and I would just throw it here. Still have Serpent Call. You know, I would change up my artifacts and have that Scrap Soul Cloak and EOG in, and it'll kind of look something like that. Still have a Supercharge generator, so I'll be good and stay on top of it. But I know a lot of people actually like to use the 10,000 ones, and that is more efficient depending on what you're doing. But I like using 5,000 still, especially because I can chain 5,000 back to back. And the way you can do that is if you actually take out your additional purple healing ray, put in Quizlet. Quizlet gives you Supercharge back and that. And then you have Eye Gemini, give Supercharge back, Strap Soul Cloak, generating Supercharge and giving it back a lot more. Plus you have Black Adam, the power of a 10. Then I will pair it with like Cyborg or Batman Who Laughs or something like that. I wouldn't pair it with Blue Beetle though, because Blue Beetle also drains additional Supercharge, so that's just gonna mess you up there. But yeah, these are different variations. If you want to do some damage, one, I would have Serpent Call in still. Two, one thing that I would more advocate for is doing more precision-based damage, especially with the Clarion and everything. So, you know, definitely you're gonna need your Carnage here, and I wouldn't really change it outside of this too much, just because how bad it can get. Okay, so if you want to do damage, hey, throw Carnage up in there, keep Serpent Call up in there, and just call it a day with that. I wouldn't really change and take Metabolism, Blossom, or Flourish out. You're still going to use Swarm Shield in case some stuff really start going on to happen. And I wouldn't try this outside of like an alert. Maybe if you want to do a raid with it and you're like the backup second healer, hey, by all means go for it. But I wouldn't be the primary healer running this, because you're just not going to heal as best as you can. Especially with some of the stuff, when I was first trying it out, I was like, dang, some of the stuff hits like back to back to back. You need to be on top of your game. And this is just, it's more healing over time and try to be very passive in it. And you may run out of power because of it and all this other stuff. So you're just not going to have a good day. I'm going to put it like that. So with all that being said, thank y'all again for tuning in and checking out this, or I should say these loadouts, these builds. I got a lot of different variations. I've been healing a very long time. And I would say with all that being said, try them out for yourself. Take everything with a grain of salt. And let me know in the comment section down below. How did you like it? Did you dislike it? What did you dislike about it? Etc. Okay, constructive criticism is everything. I do like constructive criticism. I do not like criticism where you do not explain yourself. And I'm like, oh, that's trash, you're trash, this trash, trash. And I'm gonna be like, why do you feel like that? And there's no reply. Or there's going to be somebody who are like, oh, act like they're high and mighty know-it-all, and I'm like, oh, this is so bad because of this, this, and this, and all da da da. And then I'll try out what they're saying. I'll give them a try. And what they're saying is way worse. Okay? If you have some other loadout, if you have some other variation, no matter on my damage builds, or my support builds, PvP ones, or whatever, drop it in the comment section down below. If you want to have a 101 face-off of, you know, damage comp, healing comp, whatever, a PvP match, scrimmage, whatever, let me know. I'm up for it. Okay? I will defend the builds that I put out. They're the best of the best of what I can see. I've asked people in-game. I look on YouTube. I look on websites and forums. I look in Discord chats, etc. I try to even make my own version of builds and test that out. And I have a whole battle royale crucible, so to speak, where everything gets narrowed down to one, and whatever's the best one that ticks all the boxes and can do the most damage and is very good consistent damage and all that, or does good healing and it's good to be on top of everything healing and all that, like it, then I put that out. I don't just put out nonsense. That's why I sometimes take my time with this stuff. Okay, so with all that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I got one more video. I'm gonna put all PvP together. Okay, so dueling and arenas, put it all together, and I'll space it out like how I did this one, give you the variations, and go from there. Okay, because I want to hurry up and get on to Celestial. Without further ado, make sure you like and subscribe, and peace and shalom.